Coach, can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the offseason?
My name is Skylar Mansfield, head football coach at Winterboro High School. Going into my 4th year. This summer has been very interesting. It's been a blast. I'm very appreciative to be in the opportunity spot that I'm in. We have had a great summer. A lot of young kids showing up. These guys are here because, we started a rating system on our board. When kids play games, they try to pick the best team, and they look at the ratings of the players. And we started a rating system, and these are the guys that graded out high. We've had a lot of young guys at practice. I think this will probably be one of the biggest 1A programs around in the future. So, we've had a great summer. Kids have really bought into what we're doing, and I'm excited about what's going on in Winterboro and the opportunity to coach these young men.
Coach, glad to have you today. Can you give us an idea what your roster size is and your returning starters on offense and defense?
Just to be honest, varsity-wise, we're probably sitting at about 17 kids. We have a small class of seniors, but those guys are very experienced. As far as my junior class, that is one of the bigger classes, but they all played as 8th graders. So they have a lot of experience and a wealth of knowledge under their belt. Our 10th grade group is not very big. I think we only have like 6 players in that group. The big group that's coming up is our 8th grade group and our 9th grade group. I think it's about 18 9th graders and about 20 7th graders. As far as the returning starters, Deontay Smoot is returning in the backfield, who was our leading rusher last year. Jamario Clegg is returning as a quarterback. Brian is returning as wide receiver, tight end, and outside linebacker. We return our entire offensive line with the exception of Kyler Griffin, which we have a really good size on our offensive line, and we should be pretty physical and able to compete. So with the offensive line returning, the quarterback returning, the backfield is returning, Aquarius Trust, Stank Trust is going to be able to give us some depth on offense. So we should be fine on offense. We're playing young kid Carter Castleberry, who had a 51-yard catch against Raglan last year, who showed a lot of potential. Duke Duncan, he's going to be able to help us. He's another rising 9th grader. Tyler Keith, another lineman, D lineman. Caden Ponder was another lineman, pretty big kid. We had the 2 Haynes brothers coming back. So we're not hurting in the sense of returning. We just don't have the numbers, but we should be pretty competitive. I'm excited.
Coach, I've been to several media days around and been to a lot of these schools that you're going to be playing on your roster this year. In your name, your team, guys, this is a credit to y'all. Your team keeps being brought up. It's an upcoming team that they're all worried about. But now you're getting a chance to talk about them. Can you give us an idea about your region, which I think is one of the top regions in the state, 1A? Could you give us an idea about your region and what you think the upcoming season will hold?
Well, we are really in a tough region. We didn't make the playoffs last year. We lost. And the way I have to put it to the kids, we can beat 2, 3A schools, but we can't beat a 1A school. So it has to be something in our minds that's not allowing us to excel when we play schools on our level. But our region, Spring Garden lost 3rd round against a really good Coosa Christian team. Raglan put up points, very physical team. Donahoe beat us end of the game. Victory Christian beat us end of the game. So it's a very competitive region coming back. I think Talladega County Central numbers are supposed to be up. So, just this region alone, I think, if not one of the teams in the region to get to play for the state championship, if not, make it pretty far. And 2 years ago, Wadley played for it. Coaches gonna have Wadley. They're gonna do what they do. They're gonna play very physical, and they're not gonna deviate from their game plan. So, our region, you have to be very disciplined if you want to win. It takes coaches, it takes disciplined players, and it takes a really good structure in our region to get in the playoffs.
Skylar, could you talk about Jamario and Deontay and what they bring to the table and what their progress has been since last year?
Well, number one with me, the talent is great, but the thing that stands out to me, if I can get that talent to buy in, have a work ethic, and these guys working hard and being dedicated to what we're doing. And the reason they're here today is because I think he missed one day, and the only reason he missed one day was to go to a football camp. But I have to let them know he's doing personal improvement. I need Winterboro improvement. So not being here, is good to enhance your skill, but I also need to enhance the program. So his dedication and his work ethic, I think he's put on about 5 or 6 pounds this summer of muscle, and he's dedicating that conditioning is his conditioning is what's going to carry us a long way. So I'm very excited, for people to figure out how to stop him, and Jamario being as athletic as he is and being able to throw the ball short, medium, and long, as well as be able to run the ball and to be able to mentally play the game within his mind and have success. I think it's going to take us a long way. Brian has been one of those kids that just works, and it's not that he's the most talented. He's going to be where he's supposed to be, doing what he's supposed to be doing, and doing it full speed. And what he has is something you can't coach. The tenacity and the fearless competitiveness in him is something you just can't coach. Either you got it or you don't. And, that's why he's here today. He's another one that haven't missed a day this summer, and Clegg is the same way. So these guys have bought in. They've been pushing the team. They've motivated everybody. And, these are the guys that we're going to lean on this season.
Coach, I have 2 questions. I have one for you and I have one for Deontay Smith. How important is it to motivate the players at the 1A level? Some guys think they're at a small school, they don't have the resources, or college coach scouts are not looking at them. So how do you keep them motivated, even though they're working hard, just as hard as any other school?
Well, my main thing when talking to them is, regardless of how you see yourself, it's not going to matter how you see yourself. It's how everybody else perceives you. So when they start talking about scholarships and offering stuff like this, we take these guys to camp. They go to camps on their own. And when they get before these coaches, that's their resume. However these coaches analyze what they're doing and evaluate them, I can't dictate that. The only thing I can dictate is giving you an opportunity to make it to the next level. It's very important and motivating for these guys to get in front of these coaches, so sometimes they see what they need to work on. And if they can work in front of these coaches and catch the eye of some of these coaches, it's just motivation to bring back to the school. And, even with Deontay being a senior, even though he put up numbers, he's been under-recruited, but he hasn't stopped working. That's just motivating him, to go out and have a great season. So, and we look at the numbers, we look at the sizes, we look at a lot of data from big schools, and they get this data. We measure ourselves on what these schools are recruiting. If you're not the biggest, what are you going to work on? You're not the fastest, you know what you need to work on. And these guys are motivated and looking at these numbers and going to camps, evaluating themselves and what these other schools are recruiting, and then they try to improve their skill.
All right, so Deontay, I know you had a strong spring game against Talladega, and I'm sure you have a great summer. Coach Mansfield talking about how you've been going to camps and working hard. How do you feel about being a senior and leading the team this year?
I feel good about it. I think being a senior, you're taking accountability and leadership in what you do. And being a senior, it's your last ride. You got to give it everything you got. And you got to motivate the other kids because they're going to look at you. Because the young kids, they're going to look up to you. You can't be missing practice. You can't be doing 50-50 on reps in practice. You can't half lift. Then you want to lift heavy. You got to give it 110% to show the kids behind you that this ain't no joke, that you gotta be strong, and you just got to work hard for what you want because, don't nobody want to lose in their senior year, and they wouldn't want to either. So I feel like this team is going to be good, and, it's a lot of things coming together. People, we're being a team and working out together and not missing practice like last year because it's a big difference from last year and this year. And this year, it's a lot of people coming together and working as a team and getting stuff right and mistakes that we couldn't fix last year, and now we getting them right this year. So.
This is a question. Okay, players, this is for you. Your coach is going to want to answer it, but y'all answer it, okay? Y'all answer this. This is kind of a two-part question. Think about your region schedule, the teams that you got to beat to get into the playoffs, and then think about your non-region schedule. In your region schedule, who's your biggest rivalry? And in your non-region schedule, who's your biggest rivalry?
I think our non-region schedule, I think it would be Oakman, because Oakman, we had a pretty hard time with them, and they probably had bigger linemen than us and some more skilled players, but I think they was putting up a good fight on but homecoming night, and it was pretty rough. And I think in our region with Spring Garden, I think Spring Garden, they don't give up. They keep playing to the time runs out. They get dirty. They'll give it everything to the time run out. So Spring Garden is a pretty strong team, and I think those are the two teams we gotta really be prepared for, and not be prepared late. You gotta be prepared early and ready to play.
Coach, anybody else have any more rivalries that you think? Is he pretty much spot on?
Yes, sir.
There's your leader, Coach, right there. Coach, give us an idea. I know being in a small 1A school, and you've talked a lot of times, it's not easy to have a program, to have all the good stuff, the jerseys, the equipment that maybe some of your bigger schools have. But I know there's people out there that support your program in the community. Give us a little idea about those people.
Well, Winterboro's never been hurting for community support. Winterboro's never been hurting for, let me just say this: when it becomes crunch time, everybody in the community steps up. If we need anything, and let me just say this: we have an awesome administration that gives us just about everything we want. But at some point, we can't give our kids everything they want, because it'll spoil them, and then they forget how to work. But the reality is, we see a lot of things that everybody else have, but the reality is, sometimes you work harder with less resources. And we look at people with 10 different outfits and stuff like that, but realistically, that's not going to equate to wins. It's whatever you can get your kids to do. Our community is behind us. We're doing fundraiser right now, and kids are already bringing in donations and sponsors. So, we have a really great community. The one thing that we really need to start establishing in our community to really build up our Talladega County legacy is, some kind of Hall of Fame, though, to where everybody feels special at what they do, and it may give you the opportunity or the kind of mindset to work a little harder too. But our community is very supportive. Love what we do. Love the community support and everything that our administration do for us.
Coach, you talked about Deontay, and you talked about Clegg and how athletic they are, and Brian too, at wide receiver and so forth. When you have the numbers you have, and you mentioned you're probably going to 17, 20, whatever it's going to be, do you change what you do offensively and defensively depending on what you have? Or are you going to do a basic thing as far as offense and defense, but maybe make changes with who you've got? You've got Clegg running quarterback, but he's also a good runner. You got Smoot, who's an excellent runner. Do you change things up depending on who you've got out there, or are you going to do a basic thing and just make changes as you need to?
Well, we are going to a spread system, and we're not going to minimize our offense and our kids' opportunity to be successful. Last year, I kind of took over the offense at the beginning of the year, and realistically, we did basketball play dates. I didn't have a quarterback, so we went to the single wing. I didn't know who my quarterback was going to be. Didn't know who my offensive coordinator was going to be. So now that we have established an offense coordinator, we was able to install an offense in the spring. We are more of a spread look, but if we needed to get into single wing, we still have every offense that we want to run. So we're not going to limit our offense. And just because of what our numbers are, we have kids, we can put five skill guys on the field and still be competitive. And what we are really doing this summer is conditioning these guys to where they have to play both sides of the ball, playing fast-paced football as well as being able to get on defense and be extremely physical and, not have any kind of letdown. Stamina is going to be a big thing this year. And we have guys that can run, and we're going to try to expose defenses. We're going to spread people out. Last year, most people put everybody in the box and, saying throw it at us. And, this year, we're going to spread them out. You put everybody in the box, then we're going to be able to throw the ball. And if you take everybody out of the box, we're going to be able to run the ball. So we're going to be pretty well balanced. We have a running back that can take it the distance. We have a quarterback that can throw it 60, 70 yards, and we have some receivers that can catch it and take it the distance. So depending on how you line up or whatever the game plan is, we're going to stick to it and we're going to execute our stuff.
This one's for the players. Guys, Coach Mansfield's kind of said y'all are probably going to play both ways. And that just happens in smaller schools. When you have the numbers, you got to do that. What's your favorite side of the line?
I think my favorite side of the line, you talk about offense, defense. I think I like running back more because, as a running back, you get to stiff arm people and I get to use my explosiveness on the field and, just run over. I have more vision because, as a running back versus a linebacker, you can use more of your vision on the running back side because, when you on the linebacker side, you still looking, but as a running back, you got to learn when you got to cut to the hole because it's going to be a split second when it's there. And I think running back is my favorite position.
Well, most of the time as a running back, you know where you're going. A lot of times the defense doesn't, so that can probably help. What about the other two?
My favorite position is corner because I love the hit moves.
I say I like defense side because I'm really physical and I really just want to lay people out.
This is kind of a question for everybody, but I want to start with Brian Waits and Jamarco, just so y'all can get involved as well. I know, like, as certain football players, everybody have, like, pregame rituals or something they do before each game. Do any of you guys have a pregame ritual or some type of music you like to listen to or just something you do before each game?
In the locker room, it's just we all just have a certain type of music, whatever's playing, we just get hyped to it and go along with it.
I'll say I got a different pregame ritual from everybody else because after I eat, I turn my music on, I take me a look out, and then I start warming up.
I'd say mine, I listen to music, but my most favorite pregame ritual is before we go out into the field, before we play the game, I always pray because, I couldn't do it if it wasn't for God. So that's my pregame ritual right there.
My pregame ritual is different. I'm going to set stuff up, and I'm going to clean up, and then I get me some pre-workout, put some headphones on, and work out. So, that gets my butterflies out.
I know I came to the spring game against Talladega. You were doing some of everything. Well, I figured you got a different pregame ritual than everybody else.
Well, sometimes you have stuff written down and it don't get done. So, and if it don't get done, then you have to do it. So, welcome to the custodian. And this is at a 1A school now. People got to sleep on 1A, but at 1A you're gonna do everything. Sometimes you're the custodian, you're the administrator, you're the coach. You're the father, you're the mother, you're the CM, you're the nutrition person, you're the manager, you're the filmer, So, you know, you have a lot of responsibility. So it's not easy and it's not for everybody.
Here we go. All right, this is for the players, and Coach, you can answer if you want to. And think about it before you say it to make sure it's something we can put on live stream. Think about some of the nicknames that you have on your team. You tell us some of them, and then Coach, you tell us what the favorite nickname is on this team. Be careful. Think about it.
Stank, Duke, KJ, Chew, B.
I know y'all call me Buff Baby. Y'all gave me that name. That's the only one I can think of. What else?
Yeah, Cooper Cup.
Oh yeah, that's Brian. We call Brian Cooper Cook.
Lamar Jackson, Bryce Young.
Who's Bryce Young?
Yo, Lamar. It's the upcoming 8th grade.
Got a point.
You might as well be TJ family. You got the height to be.
I will say, you know, my favorite name, and I've been coaching 17 years, and Stank has to be, you know, it has to be one of my favorites of all time.
Does he like being called Stank?
Grandma gave him the name, so he's been that name for a long time. And you know, sometimes I tell my kids, you know, it's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. So if he answered to it, then apparently that's his name.
Coach, obviously in your first 2 years, y'all made runs to the second round of the playoffs. And last year, y'all didn't meet the expectation that you put forward for the program. So for the players, what did you learn from last year, and what are you going to do differently to get over the hump in those games to get you back in the playoffs?
Last year, I think that, you know, everybody didn't really push themselves how coaches wanted us to push us. And I don't think we ain't really give it our all. We wasn't on the same page, and people was arguing and making all mistakes instead of fixing it and doing their job, because, you know, when you worried about somebody else's job, you gonna mess up. And I think that's what was happening. And I think this year's gonna be a change because, you know, we done fixed the defense and added some more plays on offense. I think people are giving it their all. And just before we came here, we still practiced, you know, just because we had media day. We wasn't gonna skip practice, you know, and we had to keep running suicides, and we all did as a team, and that's what a team's supposed to do, stick together, and that's what we did. And I feel like it's a whole different Winterboro team this year, so I think it's gonna be a good year for us.
I'd say last year we was just all about joking around. Nobody took practice serious, joking around in the weight room with lifting. You know, this year we're really into it. We got new coaches, but new coaches, and I think that they're really pushing us to be better. You know, we're not joking around, and we're here to play.
I'll say everybody wasn't mature last year. Now, the team we got this year, everybody's coming mature and ready to work and keep putting in work.
And I will say, last year, I don't think the expectation and the standard was high. This year, there's only one standard. You know, the kids are not going to have options this year. Let me put it like that. And the way I put it to them is, as long as we're within the setting of athletics, my patience are very thin. We're not goofing off and all that when it comes to ball. Now, when we get done with all that, guys, we can have a blast, but the expectations are different. There's a demand this year, and as a head coach, I am demanding perfection from these young men, because at the end of the day, I do not want a locker room like we had last year because we underachieved. So there's only one way. The expectations are very high, and they know all summer the way we have worked, they don't have a choice. There are no options. It's either be successful or go find something else to do.